It's that one time of the year when the moon is actually full in her own sign of Cancer, and we get to talk about it now as it happens the day after Christmas Day here in 2023. So let's dive in to talk about the full moon in Cancer happening on December 26th. And I will show you my screen so we can follow along and see everything there is to see on a chart, so you can kind of see how an astrologer might kind of dissect and pull this apart. So we are looking at the chart for the moment that the full moon is perfect, as it would be over Washington, D.C., just as a general indicator for the East Coast. You can use whatever city that you are in or whatever town that you are in when you are casting your own chart, and then just make sure that you see the moon here being exactly at 4 degrees and 58 minutes of Cancer, and you'll be able to confirm that it's the full moon because the sun is at exactly 4 minutes and 58 degrees of Capricorn. They are opposite each other. The sun is shining fully on the moon, and that is how we get our full moon. So we can stay here for a second and really analyze, how is the moon doing in this moment? The great thing about Luna is that you can actually just click on something and it'll take everything else away and make it a lot easier to see. So what we can see here is that the moon is in a couple conversations. So the moon is in Cancer, where she is in her domicile, the very beginning of Cancer. The moon is opposite the sun, as would be during a full moon, which is in Capricorn. And then we also see that we have this additional perk, so to speak, of the moon applying, because the moon is at 4 and Jupiter is at 5. Jupiter is moving backwards. Jupiter is retrograde right now. So that's why we're seeing the red numbers here. The moon is still moving forward. So they are applying to each other into this sextile aspect, or a sixth of the chart. So this provides a little bit of a leg up or a little bit of support, kind of like some buddy activity going on there. And so we have Jupiter in Taurus really supporting the moon here, saying, hey, I've got your back. Where we have even more support is actually from the moon with Saturn. Now, like we were talking about before, the moon is actually separating from this trine with Saturn. So the events that would have taken place through the trine with Saturn have already taken place a couple hours ago at this point. It was perfected at that point, but we may still be noticing what happens after, or the effects of it, or recognizing it at this point as well. So if the moon is at 4 and Saturn is at 2, and we know that the moon actually moves faster around the chart than Saturn does, the moon is moving away from Saturn because it has more degrees than Saturn does. But they are still trying. So this is even more support for being able to get things accomplished, for feeling supported, for having a good foundation, for having the structures in place to do what you want to do. And then Jupiter will give you even more resources from Taurus, saying we've got enough resources to do the thing as well. Now we just need to apply ourselves to that task and accomplish it. And that task may be something of the nature of actually resting. So this might actually be more indicative of giving yourself a day of rest, giving yourself the resources to be able to relax to the greatest of your ability or the greatest of your desire. And that might be a spa day for some people. That might be taking a lovely bath, as is very Cancerian. Or it might be something else that helps you relax. Maybe this is a day you schedule a massage, or go in and cash in on any gift cards that you may have had that just make you feel yourself again, make you feel like you can unwind. Cancer is very nurturing. It is a cardinal water sign, so it likes to really initiate this ability to acknowledge your emotions, to process your emotions, to feel them, and to do something with them that feels meaningful and is reciprocated in a lot of cases as well. Cancer is, again, very nurturing. So that's some things that we're looking at as far as just the moon on this day. The moon is, as we said, applying to the sextile with Jupiter, trine Saturn, opposite the sun. And the ruler of this lunation, which we would normally also look at, is in fact the moon. So that counts for both situations of what is the condition of the planet that is going through the transit and what is the condition of the ruler of that planet. Both cases now, the moon ruling Cancer. So that covers 2 birds for us with this one. Other things that are going on, I'd like to take a quick look at the sun, because as the moon is sextile Jupiter, that actually also gives us this opportunity of an applying trine between Jupiter and the sun. The sun is at 4 degrees moving towards 5. Jupiter is at 5 moving towards 4, just like we saw with the moon, but here we get this trine. So this is showing us that in the synodic cycle of Jupiter, or Jupiter's cycle around the sun, much like our year, Jupiter's cycle is coming to a point where Jupiter has been retrograde for quite some time. And when Jupiter trines the sun while retrograde, we know that Jupiter is about to turn direct. And Jupiter will, in fact, turn direct a few days after this on the 30th of December. So we can see that Jupiter is now getting ready to stand still and begin moving in a direct forward motion. So that is something that is pretty poignant to go along with this as well. We're getting ready with Jupiter to move forward again in our abundance, in our resources. Taurus deals with things like those things that help support our existence and our comforts. So those kinds of things may be making themselves more readily available soon, which is always a nice thing. I'm not sure, there is too much of a good thing. Sometimes you can have excess, but I think in this case of a planet turning from retrograde to direct, hopefully in our personal lives, we see that as a very nice, comforting thing. So that is the sun trine Jupiter. Next, I want to take a look at Mercury, who is never far from the sun. So you can find Mercury pretty quickly. Mercury is in a square with Neptune to the degree. So Mercury at 2518 is square with Neptune at 25.0. So again, this has already happened 15-degree minutes ago or 18-degree minutes ago, not long ago, probably in the same day. We are looking at 7:33 p.m. on the East Coast. And so Mercury has that going on where there's this trine going on between Mercury and Neptune, which creates a lot of opportunity for imagination, a lot of opportunity for meditation, a lot of opportunity to expand our minds and our definitions of things. Especially with Mercury being in Sagittarius, it's not Mercury's favorite place to be. It's not a very orderly sign for Mercury to be able to organize or to be able to wrap the head around efficiently. So this is us wandering or wondering in different ways, and Neptune giving us even more to wonder about or to stand in awe of. And then what we see also is that there's this energy happening where Mercury, red here, in retrograde is moving backwards, and Mars has the black numbers, which means Mars is moving forwards. So we can see that they are already conjunct, but they will be coming to a perfect conjunction on December 27th. So the very next day, Mars will meet with Mercury and they will come together. And so there may be some really energetic, active energy going on with this, where maybe a moment of realization in our belief systems, in our worldviews, in our faith base, our practices that we use spiritually, and in our ethics, will be having a moment of activity. So this is something to keep an eye out for, noticing that we have all these really flowy things, but also Mars is saying, hey, action is happening in our worldview, in the area of life, or in the themes of life that go along with what we believe and how our beliefs impact and inform our actions and the way we work with the world. So you can check where Sagittarius is in your chart to be able to see what areas of life that might look like for you and get a little bit more specific to yourself on the nature of this. I would also recommend checking Cancer in the chart, since that is where the moon is, to see where this full moon is happening for you. Yeah, so those are the aspects that I wanted to point out. That's how we kind of analyze the chart for this one. So what do we do with all of this, right? I came up with a brief interpretation and a brief affirmation to be able to use. I believe that this is a great opportunity for claiming your space and maybe even securing or just saying like, I deserve this comfort, holding the boundary of like, I need to be comfortable. Mars is saying, I demand the right to my comfort. Mars is also quite close to that trine with Neptune, but Mars is adding this forward energy to this moon. So it's like, I know that there are other things going on today. Sorry, I'm doing my thing and I'm taking care of myself today. I will see you tomorrow or the next day, since that perfection with Mercury comes the day after and may lead to some communication that may not be entirely clear, and we might act defensively instead of curiously in. So just make sure that between the 26th and the 27th, perhaps also the 28th, we're taking a breath before responding and checking in with ourselves to make sure that we're not accidentally being defensive before responding to someone. It can happen. It happens to all of us. It's okay if it does happen. It probably will lead to something that is positive in the course of its expression. So do not hold yourself to hard standards either way. And an affirmation for this is, I honor my energy, my comfort, and my flow. I honor my energy, my comfort, and my flow. So this is a great opportunity to, again, bring yourself some comfort and some joy. And I hope that that is easy for you. I hope that the resources are abundant for you to be able to do that. And I hope that anything you need finds its way to you. If you wanted to learn more about astrology through reading source texts or by studying one-on-one, I do offer opportunities to do that either on the Modern School of Ancient Wisdom Patreon, where we have our book club and various other opportunities to be immersed a little bit more in a lifestyle sense with the astrology, or I take on mentorships one-on-one. If that is something that you would like to do, you can do that through my website, modernschoolofancientwisdom.com. And if you want to get immersed in spirituality and find your people, now is the time to go ahead and grab your ticket to the Sacred Spaces Gathering occurring in Richmond in just a month. Richmond, Virginia, we will be hosting Sacred Spaces, which is a gathering for responsible and ethical spiritual and paranormal practices in Richmond, Virginia, where you'll be able to make so many amazing friends who understand you, who get you, and to learn how to do techniques that you'll be able to take with you for the rest of your life. Those are available on sacredspacesgathering.com. I'll link all of that below. But either way, this is your time to claim your comfort, to claim your joy, to expand your spiritual awareness, and to really think about, what are my goals for this? Where am I going with this? What do I need to accomplish? And what am I driven towards? I hope that it's been a wonderful holiday season and that it continues to be if you are still celebrating. And with that, I bid you a wonderful full moon in Cancer.